Hello everyone, welcome back to Selene Apoptosis. Let's go ahead and continue. When the door is shut behind Hope, Ethan called Laura. Hope found Laura a long time ago. It seemed like Laura helped her a lot. At least that's what Hope herself said. Ethan didn't know any details, nor wanted to, since Hope hadn't told him. After all, psychotherapy is a very personal matter. So personal that Ethan felt as if he were standing naked in the middle of a busy street when he had to describe what was happening to him. Apparently, one can get used to this too, as by the middle of the story he was sparing no details. To Ethan's surprise, when he mentioned the disturbing emails from his contact that are kind of getting on his nerves, Laura perked up. You're saying you have recently become quite close to your acquaintance. You empathized and tried to help him, right? Well, yes. Something like that. And your contact's letters contain vivid, disturbing imagery, yes? Imagery that evoked a certain response from you. Is that right? You could say that. He's a writer after all. Vivid images are his livelihood. Do you know what induced delusional disorder is, Mr. Harrison? Ethan tried to recall. He definitely read about it, but didn't look into much detail. Is that the thing that explains mass insanity? Like that dancing plague of 1518 in Strasbourg. That's right. This disorder is also called folie à deux, or madness for two. Sounds romantic, doesn't it? Man, this music is very calming, but the sounds is just really on par. Laura giggled. Ethan thought she herself was not all too sane. Of course she wasn't. She has to deal with the guys like me all the time. But Laura had already returned to her usual tone, calm and measured. This condition causes perfectly healthy people to experience various, let's say, negative effects. It works like this. We have a source of delirium and those who perceive it, one or more people. As you correctly noted, sometimes this disorder can take on a truly massive scale. There is usually an emotional connection between the victims of this condition. Your wife is also at risk, unfortunately. Laura paused. I can't make a diagnosis in such a format, Mr. Harrison. However, I think you need to limit contact with your acquaintance, at least for the time being. He might be the source of the unpleasant state you're experiencing. Would you like to make an appointment for a consultation? Oh man, the art has kind of gotten a little spooky, hasn't it? Let me just make it scroll down just a little bit down, or let's see how corrupted things get. And the peaceful music has gone away. Ethan politely declined. Let me go back up. Never mind. Never mind. Can't do that. I make a separate save then. Bob. Ethan politely declined. Laura listened to the rest of what he had to say. She asked what pills Ethan was taking. Ethan wasn't taking any except aspirin, because he had lots of headaches lately. She advised him to reduce the workload, follow the daily routine, and take light sedatives if necessary. Something herbal, maybe. Without meeting in person, there wasn't much Laura could offer, and Ethan had no energy, time, or money to start full-on therapy, as Hope called it. Ethan thanked Laura with all his heart, finished the call, stretched, and took a deep breath that made his ribs ache. Then he smiled. Though no full-on therapy was involved, this conversation still made Ethan feel much better. The reality made sense again, and nothing out of the ordinary was happening. Nothing he couldn't handle. He stretched again and was about to go for another cup of coffee when his breath, steady, deep breath of a man who's in control, caught in his throat. Ethan felt the small hairs on his neck standing up. Someone was looking at the back of his head. Ethan turned around slowly. "I'm calling the police." Ethan spoke each word loud and clear. It was a decent plan. And actually a decent one. It certainly wasn't funny in any way, and yet the girl sitting on the windowsill was silently laughing, covering white teeth with her hand. The girl from the supermarket. The girl from the dream. She was still wearing a light white dress, even though in the morning the temperature dropped to 53 degrees Fahrenheit and it was going to rain. One of the straps fell down to the side, but the girl was in no hurry to put it back. She swayed her crossed legs a little, looking at Ethan from under her brow, with a smile the child had hilarious mischief in mind. "Did I say something funny?" The girl quickly raised her eyes and shrugged slightly, still holding back the smile. Just as before, she did not make a sound. Ethan even assumed she could be mute, and decided to make one last attempt. Just one question, and then he calls the cops. What question? Were you? The girl's eyes became round and her face turned into a surprised grimace. Overly surprised. Ethan immediately remembered the time when he and Hope came across a couple of street mimes. She poked her thin finger into her chest, which made her tense nipples show up for a second under the thin fabric of her dress.
Me? I am what you were looking for.
She spoke slowly, stretching out her vowels and with some kind of delight. A moment later, the girl reached for something behind her back, quickly pulled it to her lips and took a sip. Ethan's throat became tight with blood that abruptly rushed to his head. Where How did you get this? The girl traced Ethan's gesture with a genuinely surprised look, and the next moment she parted her fingers. Hope's huge, colorful cup, the one they just got at the store, tinkled hurtfully as it struck the floor, and then shattered to pieces. Just like that, there was a brief moment when the cup was lying peacefully on the floor. Ethan got enough time to hope it would endure the fall. And then the fragments burst everywhere at once as the furious white light broke out from the inside. But no, that was milk. Just some milk.
You shouldn't have spooked me, you know. Now look at what you've done. The poor cup is so broken. So many eeny-meeny tiny pieces. There's no way to mend it at all.
Ethan was suffocating. What the hell are you doing here? What do you want from me? The girl bit her lip and twisted the fallen shoulder strap between fingers. The top of the dress slid even lower.
Do you want me to leave? But I may run into Hope. Right at the door, Ethan. She forgot her pass and will be here any minute. What will the poor girl think?
She has a whole bakery there. I quite like the arts of a cat. What's her name again? Forgot. But she really has a nice back. The girl looked over her shoulder and her face instantly lit up.
It's her! Here she is! Hope is simply amazing, accurate to a minute. Hello.
The girl turned over on her stomach, leaned on the sill and waved vigorously to someone invisible. Her dress completely slid down. That bitch. Ethan would bet her tits are flashing right through the window. What do she's I'm not gonna no. Ethan couldn't see it, but he knew. He felt that Hope was really standing down there, and she was looking at the window, of course, although she couldn't see much anymore, as a blurry veil covered her eyes. The girl slowly turned round and stared at him with her eyes wide open, without blinking. Her shoulders shook as if she was going to cry. But she was laughing. At first there was a couple of stifled laughs. It became laughter of someone who just heard a great joke, and gradually turned into wild barking screams. He has to stop it. Right now. Ethan wanted to rush to the window, but took just one step and froze in place. The girl must be out of her mind. She's stoned. Or worse. She may have a syringe and he doesn't want any more problems. He only wants this thing removed from his windowsill, welded in a steel box and dumped somewhere in the middle of the Atlantic. He still had his phone in his hand. Oh god. 911, what's the address of your emergency? The bitch shrank, hunched, but kept cackling like a pack of coyotes yelping in moonlit night. She's writhing with laughter, and the pale rags of dry, flabby skin were shaky in the rhythm of her movements, her dress looking like a death shroud. He suddenly thought she was much older than he thought at first. What is going on? Ethan looked at her for the last time, a mixture of hate and disgust in his eyes, turned away, running his fingers through his hair. There's a stranger in my apartment. A woman, most likely on drugs or just insane. Can you see her right now? Ethan could see only the wall in front of him, but he heard a deafening howl. It was echoing throughout his skull, beating into his temporal bones like a desperate bird. Ethan clenched his teeth. Yes. Does she have a weapon? Maybe. She threatened me. Can you leave the apartment? No. The scum can escape and I don't want her to get. Ethan hesitated. I can't hear you. Sir, what is happening? Speak up, I can't hear you. What is happening? The terrifying laughter kept echoing in Ethan's ears. There was no one behind him. He approached the window slowly, as if it was happening in a dream. The shards of hope crunched under his feet. Just like before, the window was closed. Ethan opened it and carefully looked down. He did not see the body, too good to be true, but he had to check. Only the gray pavement, which gradually turned black as it actually started raining. Ethan looked across the street, just in time to notice the familiar cream-colored coat disappearing behind the corner of the nearby house. Hope. Hope! He screamed so loud that something snapped in his throat. She didn't hear him. Or maybe she didn't want to hear. Ethan called her at least 100 times. Hope didn't answer. Ethan thought he could come to her office, but eventually decided it would only make things worse. The police were in his apartment 23 minutes, 40 seconds later. They didn't find any signs of forced entry in the call record, as they found out later, and nothing that resembled laughter or howling. No extraneous sounds, as the officer said. Hope returned sometime between late at night and early in the morning. Skin on her cheekbones was taut and almost transparent, and there were deep shadows under her eyes, as if she hadn't slept in a long time. She smelled strong alcohol. Ethan went out of the dark room to her. He didn't sleep and didn't turn on the light either. Things that lurked in the dark, real or imagined, no longer frightened him. He even wished that something he had been dreading for the past month, if only I could name the feeling he had, would come out of the greasy blackness of the shadows and snap his neck. But everything in the apartment was mockingly calm. Except for Ethan himself. Hope. Hope stared at him in silence, swaying a little. Instead of pupils, she had dark holes. I've been thinking a lot about what I would say to you if you came back. What I can say. Hope's face showed no emotion. It seemed like she didn't even blink. Anyway, I realized that I can only tell the truth, no matter how crazy it sounds. If I try to cheat, it only gets worse, right? Ethan gave a short, nervous laugh. Anyway, Ethan had plenty of time to think about what he was going to say, but he still didn't know where to start. Some time ago, I don't remember exactly, I started seeing a girl.
Who is she, Ethan?
I don't know.
Is it Sophie?
Who?
Sophie Wolf? Your student from that online course?
Hope made a vague gesture with her hand. Movies from the late Victorian era. Ethan didn't know why he said that, but Hope obediently repeated it in a flat voice.
I remember you were impressed with her. You always liked smart girls. And this one was also beautiful.
Hope, this isn't what you think.
Think. Who says I think? Thinking's too painful.
Wait, hold on. Ethan disappeared into the room and came back a few minutes later. The darkness of the hallway, was diluted by the light of the screen. Hope covered her eyes with her hand, either from the brightness of the screen itself or because she didn't want to see whatever there was.
What is it all about?
Here. Look. It's Sophie Wolf. On the screen, in fact, was the profile of Sophie Wolf, a student. On the photo, Sophie was squinting, either from the bright sun or because her curly red hair was getting in her eyes. A small brown-haired girl snuggled up to her with a shy smile. They're a nice couple. If I remember right, they had a wedding this year.
Then who is?
I don't know. And honestly, I don't care. I just want her out of my life, but this bitch follows me. Well, she used to follow. But now I don't think. I don't think I'll ever see her again.
Is it good or bad.
Hope, please. If you want to leave, I'll understand. But if you're willing to give me a chance, I promise I'll do my best to mend it all. He couldn't really promise, but he was too eager for the nightmare, real or imagined, to finally end. No more weird stories. Please. I don't need anyone but you. If you can get... He couldn't finish because Hope kissed him. Her bag hit the floor with a thud. The rest of the night actually went fine. Well, even more than that, except for the fact that they were too busy to get any sleep. Oh, fuck! Okay. Was not expecting that. I'm gonna get fucking heart attack. At least everything was going okay until the moment when, instead of Hope's face, just for a moment, Ethan saw... He couldn't tell her. He mumbled with something about not feeling well and collapsed on his back, panting. He closed his eyes so that Hope wouldn't accidentally catch a glimpse of what he saw. Nothing happened. It wasn't real. It's fine. She understands, said Hope. Something changed. Oh boy, faceless entities. I remember her face. Wait, that was it? Why these marked red? Let's see, I remember that one. That one. Let's maybe take a look at this. Oh, we got more programs. Let's see. Where's Timo? Let's look for him together. Maybe he's up the tree chasing the birds. No, I can't see him. Maybe he's in the reeds watching the fish. No and no. Let's look some more. Oh boy. Oh no, no. Oh, it's fucking dead. Maybe he's on the roadside under the blue plastic bag. He's not there, he's not there, he's not there, he's not there. Ooh. Whoa, what did the... Okay, let's try our very best to dub this. He's not there, he's not there, he's not there, he's not there, he's not there. He's there, he's not 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 there, he's there, he's there, he's not there, he's not there, he's not here, he's not there. Conditions of love melodrama. The conditions of love. Is that Russian? Ah, it's blood. What happened? I thought that was a romance. What have you done? I wanted to save you. I wanted to save us both. You fool. That's right. But I just can't lose you. It is too late. This TV looks a little different. Is this Ethan's apartment? It's never too late as long as we have each other. Oh, Elijah. The conditions of love. Science for kids. Oh dear, this one's gonna be horrifying. The Secrets of Anatomy. Example 1. Are those tomatoes? Example 3. Tomato. Example 4. A ripe specimen. The screaming man is hiding here. Ductus nasal criminalis. I said that wrong. Happy Dreamland. Oh, it's a kid joke. Mary's a lamb. What is that? Johnny is a tree. And who's a little liar? You. Han and Sam show. What do you do when you feel lonely? Bert and Ernie, but it's not Bert and Ernie, the Han and Sam show. What do you do when you feel lonely? I don't feel lonely. What do you do when you feel lonely? I don't feel lonely. What do you do when you feel lonely? Something bad happens if you ask me again. What do you do? Oh, he's dead. Told you. The Hans and Sam show. He's dead. Sam's dead. Let's see. Oh, I missed some more. Commercial break. Oh, there's another episode of Happy Dreamland. Rerun. Commercial break. Blue Lights Hotel. We welcome your stay for a moderate price. Suspicious. Happy Dreamland. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. Okay, lamb. It's a faceless entity. I remember her face. That's all the TV programs for now. Let's go back. Something changed on the laptop too. January 11th. The new school is okay. I wish I could make friends with someone though. Mom is working late again. It's fine. I've lifted a very heavy box when he moved in. Mom couldn't pick it up herself. I'm a big boy now, and big boys aren't afraid of anything. I'll just turn on the lights and watch TV with Timo and my friends. Only the cool stuff with animals or robots or aliens, but not the creepy kind. Concave muzzles of Persian cat stared back at him. All that was required of Ethan. He had to call the cavalry. A simple task, but Ethan hesitated. It was hard for him to get used to the idea of one of those pop-eyed creatures walking around their apartment. During the day, it will nap where it pleases, and at night, sneak into the kitchen to play with the shadows that move by themselves. Its eyes will turn into two saucers of black and green nacre if the light reaches them. Ancient people believed cats could walk between worlds and see spirits. Looking at Persians, Ethan hardly believed they could even breathe on their own. And yet, in this Ethan Harrison from the 21st century agreed with the ancient people, there was something sinister about them. In any case, he should call the cattery. For Hope's sake. For the sake of them both, since he had made the decision. Ethan had already picked up the phone and was about to proceed with the plan when he heard the key turn in the entrance door. Something about that wound him up. It was barely 5 o'clock in the evening, which was in any way very early for Hope to be back. If everything was fine, that is. Ethan closed his laptop and went out into the hallway. For a long time he couldn't say a single word, and when he could speak again he only managed one question. What have you done? Hope's smile faded, and for the first time in the 4.5, or even 5 years they've been a couple, Ethan was glad of it. She dyed her hair! In fact, there's nothing surprising about it, as with the new haircut and the new hair color, Hope looked invariably insanely similar to the creature at the window. Hope's lips turned white, trembling.
This didn't help, did it? Any of it? You can't love me even now, right?
What are you talking about?
Isn't it obvious? I see how you look at me. You're disgusted. You try your best to touch me as little as possible. Oh, and no matter what I do, no matter what I try, it doesn't help.
Admit it. You never loved her. You didn't, right, Ethan? She was convenient, and that's about it. Shit makes the flowers grow. Your flowers grew so much, didn't they, Ethan? Didn't they?
Ethan would never hit his wife. More than that, he would never hit a woman. But what spoke to him was neither his wife nor a woman. It was a nightmare incarnate that bears long, sharp teeth and came to take away his right for a second chance. Or so Ethan thought at the time. The punch turned out somewhat pathetic. We have to take into account that wife beating is not a fairground attraction. When you hit your wife properly, a mark does not fly up to the highlight sign, a good one. Although this was only indirectly related to the early Renaissance, Ethan had expertise in the matter, since his old man's fist used to itch often. If there's something like that, he would know. However, if any sign could light up at the moment, it would say something like, "You're scum, Ethan." No. He kept repeating that even after Hope stormed out the door in tears. Oh, you punched your wife. Oh, Ethan. Ethan barely remembered the following few days. Something seemed to be happening. Some people called him. He himself called a lot. He called Hope. Hope wasn't answering the phone. He knew this would happen. Every time he dialed her number, he knew he'll end up listening to the voicemail signal. It became something of a ritual. He would wake up, sometimes it was light outside, sometimes dark, but more often it was something gray he neither could nor would want identified because of the drawn curtains. He'd call Hope. Hope wouldn't answer the phone. He would go to the kitchen and turn the water on. He'd watch the silvery, twisted stream break against the sink for a while. Eventually, he'd put a cup under the stream, fill it to the brim, drink. Go to the bathroom, back to couch. Too bad to be true. All this can't be real. Life can't crumble into pieces in an instant, just collapse inwards like a wooden block tower. Ethan couldn't remember the name of that game. Once he and Hope went to sea. He and Hope. It's too bad. All this can't be real. He didn't do anything. Could it be that he didn't do anything? No. He hit Hope. He hit her, and the red blood spread across her cheek. It's too dark to see, but Ethan knew how it goes. How could he do that? What happens now? What can happen now? These thoughts were like a bunch of needles he tried to swallow over and over. Sometimes he managed to briefly forget about them. It would happen when he woke up in the gray timelessness, looked at the dirty white ceiling, and didn't remember who that Ethan Harrison was. The pain would always come back. He had a bunch of needles in his throat, and no matter how much water he drank, he couldn't get rid of it. Hope's father shook him up a bit. Not in a sense he could have done it, grabbing a hold of him, lifting out the ground. Hope's father was a tough man, and despite his age, he could have hit Ethan hard. Ethan was afraid of it. At the same time, he wanted it to happen. That would have made everything easier. Maybe even fixed it all. Ethan was going over it in his head as he stared at the phone screen, displaying a familiar number. He was awfully scared, yet he answered. It turned out Hope had asked her father to pack up for her. "Aw, she's leaving us." Mr. Murley's voice was flat, maybe even a bit uncertain. And worst of all, he wasn't angry. This plunged Ethan into despair. He couldn't get his redemption like this. However, the upcoming visit forced Ethan to gain his senses. It shot them back into reality, like a stream of people pushing one into a crowded subway train. He tied up the place a bit. Man, it's so empty now. He shaved. He figured out what to say. Several times he rehearsed his speech in front of the mirror. And just before Mr. Murley's arrived, Ethan left the keys with the neighbors. Simply put, he fled. Of course, he warned Mr. Murley's beforehand with a message, because he didn't have the heart to call. Ethan wanted Mr. Murley's to pick up what he had to and get out as soon as possible. Mr. Murley's wasn't going to help. That's for sure. He wasn't going to help, which meant he simply got between Ethan and his wife. Ethan was angry with Mr. Murley's, like he was the source of all the trouble. Anger was boiling up inside him, mixing with the cheap coffee and turning into caustic acid. There's nothing rational about this feeling. Ethan had plenty of time to think about it, to weigh it, to examine it under a magnifying glass. He was sitting in a small cafe on the corner of the street until the streets got dark. He would have stayed there even longer if a waiter hadn't come to his table to tell the place was closing. Ethan nodded absently and asked for a moment to use the bathroom. Again, there was nothing rational about being angry with Mr. Murley's. And to be honest, it was pathetic. Just like hitting your wife, then running away not to face her father. You're scum, Ethan. Worthless scum. Ethan turned out the tap and stared at his reflection in the large mirror. A few drops of water trembled on the tip of his nose and chin. Now that was a proper punch. Sir, I'm sorry, but Sir, are you okay? You have blood oozed from his split lip. Ethan wiped it with the back of his hand. Yes. Yes, I'm fine. Sorry, I didn't mean to keep you. He smiled. The fresh wound got swollen with blood again. A red blot spread across his face, just as it should. Ethan didn't lie to the waiter. He really was fine. Maybe not in the same manner as before, but the gears in his head were starting to move again. When he got home, Mr. Murley's had already left. Turned out that he didn't even take the keys from the neighbors. At first, Ethan assumed Mr. Murley's could cancel the visit, but as soon as he opened the door, his doubts disappeared. A strong, unfamiliar scent was filling the hallway. It could be Mr. Murley's cologne, or maybe the smell of the apartment itself with Hope's presence faded away. Mr. Murley's must have taken his daughter's keys. Somehow the possibility never crossed Ethan's mind before. He drew the air in through his nostrils and suddenly felt, as sharp and clear as in that dream he had days ago, something was going to happen. Ethan looked around the empty, dark room and reached for the phone. Was it to perform the ritual, or was he hoping something would go different this time? Short beeps. Let me see if there's something. Let's see there. Let's see. Nothing. Nothing. Okay. You only have to figure what and where. Oh no, not this again. Something had changed in the picture. It's not that Hope's favorite blouse is missing from the closet. If you find the difference, you win. If you find the difference, you'll know where the gears are taking you. The hallway. Pot-bellied bowls on the dresser, full of gibberish and dust. Why is Hope's reflection on the mirror, and why does she have no eyes? There's shadows moving around. Oh boy. The kitchen. Why are there legs on the painting? What is that? I can't tell what that is. I have to look in editing. No, it's the eyes again. An uneven row of glass jars on the shelf, an empty coffee maker bearing dry blackness at the bottom. Spoons, forks, and knives, some of them really sharp. The bathroom. Oh, not the bathroom. A mirror on the wall, and in a reflection the closed door is open. No, not here. What about? Ethan licked his split lip. Yes, that's it. He has to check his email now. Was the third painting always like that? Ethan was looking carefully. Seemed like a lot of time had passed. His mailbox was full of various emails, but Ethan barely glanced at the names. He was looking for something special. And what was special about, say, letters from the agency that were gradually becoming more and more concerned? At some point, concern turned into cold and aggressive. Ethan idly skimmed through the notice of contract termination. Not what he's looking for. Start with the oldest emails and scan the list all the way to the top. Nothing. Maybe he's looking in the wrong place. Maybe there's just nothing to look for. No. Something is happening. He only has to figure what and where. Ethan got so close to accurate answer to his questions that the light of new knowledge could have burned out his eyes. At the top of the list was an untitled letter. Maybe Ethan missed it the first time, or maybe it just wasn't there before. The sender was the same writer Ethan had volunteered to help, completely free of charge. Ethan's lungs turned into a deflated pool ball. He clicked on the name of the letter without a name. Of course, the letter actually had a name. Mail clients carefully add untitled to empty line, just in case you're losing it when you type your email, because something got out of that open door in the bathroom mirror. The poor guy begged Ethan to come. The mail said he couldn't sleep. He was scared, exhausted, and didn't know who else to ask. Something will get him very soon, if he won't figure anything out. He didn't know if it was related to the work he was doing. He didn't know how to drive away what had settled in his house. He only knew that something enormously hungry was looking at him from the darkness. You know what I mean, right? Ethan knew. By the time he finished reading the letter, Ethan already knew what he should do. Let me see. What choices? Answer the call? The acquaintance didn't know if it all had any relation to the work he was doing. But what about Ethan's work? Could his research shed light on what lay dormant in the dark and awaken it? Was it Ethan's avid curiosity, or the question that teased its appetite? Which one was cursed, the chicken or the egg? Ethan was angry. Angry as hell. He wanted it to end, all of it, once and for all. He wanted to face his fear, even if the fear was no longer his own. Even if it was crawling through the wires and climbing communication towers to breathe out its noxious spores into the air. The eyeballs are back. Ethan was angry, but also terrified. What he wanted to think was a delusion took root and grew stronger as he tried to deceive himself. It was as incorporeal as the email in his mailbox, yet at the same time, as real. Ethan wanted to face the fear so that it would take a shape in the name, a box which that fear could fit. Maybe then he could have dealt with it.
とある雨の夜に見知らぬ綺麗な人が玄関先に現れた。君は